All right, what up, people? It's your boy Chig from Guna Eagle Eye, coming to you again with a brand new video. This time, it is a Eagle Eye episode where I talk to you about rumours and news surrounding the Arsenal. It's been a minute since I've done one of these. I feel like the last one I did was a while ago. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. Apologies if my videos are a little bit less forthcoming. No, I owe you guys a chopping block still. It's still coming. Quite honestly, I've been nursing a bad voice since yesterday. You'll probably hear it's a bit grainy, so apologies for that. It's literally, I've got this horrible pain right here. I don't know what I've done to my throat, but yeah, it don't feel great. So I'm just trying to nurse it at the moment. But I still plan to bring you all your shows. Members are still going to do a member stream tomorrow. I'm probably still going to do another episode of Eagle Eye tomorrow. So it's just my pre-recorded stuff. I need to try and find time of when to drop that. But worst comes to worst, I'll just do what I usually do and do a double episode of Chopping Block. So it's not a problem. So you will get it. You still will get your FIFA streams and all of that. None of that is slowing down, I assure you. Anyway, so I say all that to say this. Let's get into the stories. First things first, let's talk about Matteo Guendouzi now. Forgive me, some of the stories I'm going to talk about today may be a bit old. They may have developed since. It's been what, 5 days since I've done an Eagle Eye. So people keep asking me what I think about X, what I think about Y. So I'm just going to give my quick opinion on it. And let's talk about Matteo Guendouzi. Obviously, Matteo Guendouzi is someone who we know is a bit of a handful to manage. Yeah, Emery had an issue with him. Arteta's had an issue with him earlier in the season when they went to Dubai, and they supposedly had a fight with Ainsley Maitland-Niles. And obviously, most recently, the whole Brighton mess has probably shown Matteo Guendouzi up a little bit. And actually, from what I understand, it's not now so much the Brighton stuff that is annoying Arteta. It's actually the attitude since the Brighton thing. Like, there's no sort of willingness to improve. You know, get the impression that he's a bit of a petulant child in that respect. In fact, so much so, everybody's been having their opinion on him, including his previous manager. Obviously, we brought Matteo Guendouzi in. I'm trying to look for the quote now. It's kind of vanished off my screen. But yeah, we're trying to bring Matteo Guendouzi in. And there's a real concern that Matteo Guendouzi has this type of behavior in his locker. Supposedly his relationship with his previous manager completely broken down. And, you know, I think from that perspective, he does have this habit sometimes of shooting himself in the foot. That he's always had this somewhat of an attitude problem. You know, there's a real kind of thought process that, you know, maybe Matteo Guendouzi just needs to go for his own benefit. So much so now that he's been linked with a variety of teams. Most recently was Inter Milan. But Inter Milan apparently were a little bit scared off because they were told that Barcelona aren't interested in Matteo Guendouzi. Matteo Guendouzi, apparently, Barcelona were being linked with talks with him. Arsenal were very adamant that if Matteo Guendouzi was to leave the club, that they would demand £40 million for him. Barcelona were open to a loan for him, which kind of Arsenal are like, no, if you want him, you have him properly. So, I mean, there's all different types of takes in terms of what is going on here. In fact, I looked at this story an hour ago, right? An hour later, this story has now changed to now say that Arsenal are now thinking of keeping Matteo Guendouzi in spite of the links. I think they believe that, you know, they do have a lot of faith. I mean, for when this whole fallout happened, apparently the board have been very split over whether to keep Matteo Guendouzi or not. The thought process being that they believe that there is a real player of potential there. even in the fan base. The fan base, a lot of people think is useless. Sell him. A lot of people feel like he's got a lot of potential. I've said for a long time that I feel that there's a player there, but what recently put me off was just the attitude and application. Like, we're not really seeing a lot of development there. Like, for me, there's not real improvement there that I can see, and maybe that we're overrating him. Obviously, all this has happened at a time where he's got 2 years left on the contract, and you have to really ask yourself: does he deserve a new contract? No. So we're kind of almost harming ourselves, because what are we then saying? If he's not deserving of a new contract, then by rights we should move him on. But in moving him on, are we losing out on a player that maybe potentially could be something? Now, for me, some people are more brutal with Guendouzi than I will. I kind of have this thought process that I do think that there is a player somewhere in there. And I do. I like the fact that he's confident when it comes to getting on the ball. I like the fact that he's never scared. I like the fact that he demands the ball. And actually, I quite like the arrogance. As silly as that might sound, I like footballers with arrogance, as long as it's applied the right way. I like the arrogance of someone who's 21 years old. So, no, this is my show. I run this. Here's the problem. It's all well and good having that arrogance. You're damn sure got to back it up. And that's the problem. That's the part where Guendouzi doesn't always do. He doesn't always back it up. My other complaint with Guendouzi is I'm not really sure what type of midfielder he is, because I wouldn't say he's creative enough to be a number 8, and he's damn sure not defensive enough to be a number 10. And it's funny because Arteta, I think, once, or it was either Arteta or Emery, I don't think it was Freddie, that played him as a number 10. It was Emery as a number 10, as a false 10. And that worked really well. I actually thought he played really well in that game as a false 10. So it kind of made you think, okay, so are you a number 10? Like, well, what are you? And I think that's, see, for me, what Guendouzi is missing is, you see what Sabas is doing right now? That's what Guendouzi should have been doing. See what Sabas is doing right now, kind of filling in the gap for Torreira, being tenacious, putting in a foot where he needs to, being combative, being that guy that's foul, gets up, drives the team on. That is what you would have hoped Guendouzi would have been doing right now. And actually, it's the Ceballos that's doing that. So it kind of makes you think to yourself, because is anyone sat here thinking, all right, even if you keep Guendouzi, we shouldn't get Thomas Partey? And if Thomas Partey comes in, where does Guendouzi fit? And I damn sure wouldn't want us to lose out on Thomas Partey for a maybe, perhaps, that Guendouzi, eventually becomes this player that people hope he'll become. And this is where I feel like I don't really know where he fits. Not to mention that they're already talking about trying to find some sort of deal for Ceballos. So I suppose I might as well transition into that story. Loads of stories at the moment talking about how Arteta is desperate to keep Dani Ceballos, particularly in light of his recent form. Dani Ceballos isn't one I'm quite mixed with, because to me it feels like he wants to go back to Spain. And he's always made it clear that he wants to go back to Madrid and fight for his place at Madrid. But Zidane ain't feeling him. He ain't feeling him. He ain't feeling them at all. So one kind of wonders, are these performances really to show Zidane or maybe somewhere else in Spain that he can be that guy? Or is he keen himself to stay at Arsenal? I'm not sure of the latter, to be honest. I think what may happen, however, just to satisfy everybody's kind of feeling, is that I feel like we may just extend Dani Ceballos' loan one more year. I think that's probably what will end up happening. What do you guys think? I know lots of people are mixed with Dani Ceballos. But I will say this. First half of yesterday's game against Leicester, my man ran the show. And he's played very well recently. He has. He's upped his game. He's really relished this Lucas Torreira role, and he's actually played it in more of a dynamic way. And he's doing well. And he's working well with Granit Xhaka. So, it must be said, you can see why people like him. You can see why Arteta likes him. I just wonder where it's going to go and what it's going to result in. But what do you guys think? Again, let me know. Leave it in the comments below. Going back to Guendouzi, if supposedly he's in talks with Barcelona, if we can get anything in the region of £40 million for him, you take that. Honestly, just take that. We need to make sales, and I'm a bit worried because there seems to be this pattern of I wake up day to day, and the players that you think will be the ones that we're looking to sell are the ones that Arteta is trying to make cases for to keep. A good example of that is Alexandre Lacazette. Right now, I know the story has since changed, but I woke up, I think it was on Friday, and I saw a story about Arteta saying, no, it was after whenever we played, it was when Arteta sat down Connor Cody. So it would have been after that Wolves game. I saw a story saying that Arteta was praising Alexandre Lacazette's attitude of being dropped in favour for Eddie most recently, and how he's trying to find out a deal and work out a deal with Lacazette where he signs a new deal. Now, listen, it pains me to say this because I do like Lacazette, and I have liked Lacazette in the past. But I think you look at the situation almost in, it's not too dissimilar from Guendouzi in certain ways, where you just think to yourself, you're 29 years old, you've got 2 years left. You would think to yourself, you're not exactly a banger when it comes to these goals. You're not. When you score, it always looks good, but how often does it happen? You know, and Lee, I know, put it in very brutal ways in our review and player ratings, but it's true. For every insult that I imagine every one of you guys have leveled at Olivier Giroud at some point or another during his Arsenal career, the man was more prolific than Lacazette. He just was. And I just think to myself, for me, especially because I know lots of people think, oh, well, Lacazette upsets the balance of the team. Don't get it twisted, people. I think he brings in another striker if Lacazette goes. Whereas I think if Aubameyang went, I think he's more likely to bring in a winger. So that's personally what I think on it. Sorry, I'm just watching this Wolves Sheffield United game. Don't know why. Of all the games I'm watching, that's the game I'm watching. Don't ask me why. I don't know. It's the only 0-0 game on right now. So yeah, I feel like, a good example is we've recently had two strikers come out and said that they're quite interested in a move to Arsenal. One of those strikers is Victor Osimhen from Lille. He's obviously a guy that I'm going to be very interested in. Nigeria at the moment seem to be like the African Belgium. The teams that we are building, the youngsters that are coming through for Nigeria, I tell you, it makes me excited over the next couple of years because we could be running shit over the next couple of years. And Victor Osimhen is another one out of that latest list of people. He's banged 18 goals in 38 games last season. Obviously, the French league is done. It's been done for some time. I tell you, the amount of money that the French league has lost because they made their decision early. Them and Holland, they made it early. They didn't even wait to see how things were going to shake down. They cancelled their season early because of the COVID stuff. And the feeling would have been that, Lille would have just gone from strength to strength. I think they finished second in the end. So they've obviously had a really, really good season. Osimhen has kind of made it clear that he would like to leave the club. And obviously lots of people are interested in him, particularly the Italian sides are very interested in him. Supposedly Napoli is closest to his signature and they've made him like a really good offer. But actually he is very much interested in a move to Arsenal, or I think more accurately, a move to the Premier League. I think he's very keen on that move and he's waiting to see what offers come in. Now, obviously with Arsenal, we've got two strikers that are linked with moves. Victor Osimhen, funny enough, has rejected a move to Arsenal previously under Arsene Wenger, when Arsene Wenger could have got him for £1 million. Yep, this is another one of those. Another one of those stories. A little fun fact. But Yeah, I mean, for me, I think this guy that's going to be full of potential. My only problem with this is that if you get Osimhen, you harm someone like Martinelli's progress into the team. Because let's just say you get Aubameyang to stay, then where does Martinelli fit into all this? Bear in mind he's currently injured. Whereas if Aubameyang left and then you decided to go and get Osimhen, and then maybe sold Lacazette as well, I think that makes a little more sense, because then what you could say is, all right, I'm going to build a team for now around Saka, Osimhen, and Pepe. Then once Martinelli comes back, he just resumes his place, and him and Osimhen compete for the same spot. It's as simple as that. What you want is competition everywhere, people, and that to me represents competition everywhere. What do you guys think? Again, let me know. Leave it in the comments below. Or you could just have Martinelli play as a number 10. That's always the another option. Saka as a number 10. Martinelli on the left is another option. But I think that could really be a dynamic force moving forward if you were to get rid of those guys. Because I like Osimhen. I think he's good, man. I think he'll only get better. And I'm harsh on my Nigerians. I'm harsh. You guys know this. Like, for example, I think I've said on record that I prefer Partey to Ndidi, and that always surprises people. I just expect a higher standard from the Nigerians. So for me, if I rate a striker, you know they're good. I think this Osimhen guy is very, very good. But what do you guys think? Let me know. Leave it in the comments below. Supposedly, according to Football Italia, this story comes from, by the way, and he's said to be worth around 40 million pounds. So let's see what happens. Okay, moving on. I suppose the other story coming off the back of this is, and I'm going to butcher his name, is the Wolfsburg striker. The Wolfsburg striker just flat out said, yeah, he'd love a move to Arsenal, which kind of was like, oh. So you may remember, I'm trying to get his name up. His name is Wout Weghorst. He's obviously the 6'5" forward. He scored 16 goals in 32 appearances this season. Big powerhouse. Very much a Giroud type, if you like. Lots of people, including myself, feel like there's a good need for someone like that in the team. Just a target man, because we do have quite samey, nimble forwards, where it's just a big powerhouse. Actually, there's a use for that. There's a reason, for example, why a 6'1" Aubameyang does not play at the point of our attack. And I know that pisses a lot of people off, but it's true. The boy can't hold up the ball. So the only way that you can, as such a good goal scorer, you obviously can't leave him out of the team. So you have to play him on the left-hand side. And that's the problem that we have at the moment with Aubameyang. Because if he was someone that could play up top by himself, there wouldn't be an issue. You know, Lacazette wouldn't be sniffing the team. So that is the issue with Aubameyang at the moment. Whereas someone like this, where the ball comes into him, it sticks to him. And clearly he's got nimble enough feet and he's technical enough that he's able to get his finish away. Good, decent goal scorer. 27 years old, though. So you do say to yourself, he's probably looking for a big move now. He's still thinking to himself, you know what? I've paid my dues. I've scored goals. I've done what I've needed to do. If I can get me a move now, I'm going to be gone. Wolves are said to be the closest to his signing. They obviously need backup for Jimenez. There's no indication necessarily that Jimenez is leaving Wolves, but I think past Jimenez, they don't really have a striker. So they're looking at this guy. As a 27-year-old, I'm guessing he won't want to be a number 2 somewhere. I don't see him being a number 1 at Arsenal. But what do you guys think? Is this someone that you'd be interested in? Let me know. Once again, leave it in the comments below. I like the look of him. I do like the look of him. My only thing is, and I hate to be ageist, but it is his age. His age makes me think, like you'd have been great like 3-4 years ago. That would have been a good option. But what do you guys think? Maybe I'm tripping in that. Let me know. Okay, the story that I think most people kept tweeting at me and asking me what I thought about was this move about Alan Saint Maximilian. Arsenal supposedly, this story sounds nuts. I ain't gonna lie to you. When I heard this story, I thought bullshit. It was my very first reaction. I thought bullshit. Either someone is on a wind up, they saw a minor league show, and they figured, you know what? I'm just gonna make up a rumor just to piss them off. Like I just thought to myself, no way. Now I don't quite hate him as much as Lee does. I think he's clearly a raw talent. He's 23 years old. He's scored 4 goals and 7 assists this season, which ain't bad. I think he came in January, if I'm not mistaken. But then I kind of saw where this story originated from, and it was from Ellie 10 Sport, and that made me think, oh right, okay, then it's bullshit because these guys, I'm pretty sure they are on the metro they are the core offside of France because the amount of stories these lot seem to make up, allegedly. I'm going to put that just in case I get sued. Um, Honestly, it just made me think to myself, all right, so that lets me further know that this is some bullshit. First of all, Newcastle United have only just bought him in. Second of all, quite frankly, if this takeover ever actually pops off for Newcastle United, they're going to be eyeing Arsenal's place in that top 6 or 7. And they're not going to want to strengthen Arsenal with this player. Unless it's for stupid amounts of money, which we know Arsenal don't have. And if they do have stupid amounts of money, I don't want them spending it on, and I'm sorry, I don't care how good he becomes. Right now, I don't want them spending that money on Alain Saint Maximilian. Straight up. But what do you guys think? As always, I think pretty much us and Napoli seem to have the same scouting team because every time we are after someone, Napoli are after someone. This is another one that Napoli are really keen and interested in. But again, what do you guys think? Let me know. Leave it in the comments below. Leave it in the chat room. I'm coming there shortly. Oh no, this story. I saw this story 2 days ago. Put it on my community post. I was like, no, 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 no. Arsenal are thinking about offering Squadron Mustafi a brand new contract. Oh my gosh. So before somebody says it, I know he has been consistent recently. In fact, I'll go one step further. Has probably been our best defender on a consistent basis. That don't mean that he should be staying. Now, hold on. You're going to say what? How does that make sense? Well, let me just put it into perspective. There's a real case that, Saliba aside, you could quite make a case of selling every single one of our defenders. Maybe not Chambers, because I actually think Chambers has had a decent season, injuries aside. When he has played, I think he's played pretty well. Holding most recently has started to play well, but you can make a real case of selling each and every single one of those defenders. So saying that, oh, well, Mustafi's been all right recently. He's been all right of a bad bunch, generally. But yeah, he's done all right. I would have hoped that he wouldn't be fucking up every single week. That's what you'd hope. But of course, and this is where I feel like this is something that Wenger would do. And this is where I do understand why some people call him Michael Wenger, because it's almost like this short-termism of, oh, well, recently he's been all right, so maybe recently he deserves a new contract. No, man. There's a reason that you lot, as a club, have been seeking every single transfer window to sell him. He's currently on 90 grand a week. I don't want us to play these games. I wish him all the best. He's done great. I hope he continues to do great between now and whenever we finally get around to finishing the season. But that don't mean I want a new contract for him. Let's just let him ride off into the sunset. In fact, because he's playing so well, actually for me, he's probably made sure that he gets some sort of decent move. I can see him now going to an AC Milan. Actually, now before I couldn't understand what that was about. Like, what do you mean he's going to AC Milan? Now I can see it. If you made that argument to me, I could say, yeah, I can see that now. I can see that now. Please let us not add Squadron Mustafi to this list of mistakes like David Luiz. Please. Yes, I get he's playing all right now, but if you know anything about Mustafi, anything about Granit Xhaka, or anything about David Luiz, it's a matter of time before one of these three individuals fuck up. It's a matter of time. This is not a case of, oh, well, once in a blue moon. No. Just look at their Arsenal careers, even as short as David Luiz's has been. Look at their Arsenal careers. At some point, they will fuck up. The only way you minimize that is by starting to shit these guys out. Even with Granit Xhaka, I can understand Xhaka. I personally wouldn't. I personally would strip him out. But I can understand the argument more for giving Xhaka a brand new contract than I can Mustafi. Please, let us not play around and have these games. Honestly, I get things are tight, but flip, please no. Speaking of tight, but we're still apparently looking at defenders, Arsenal are interested in a move for Malang Sarr. Malang Sarr is someone who's obviously worked under Arsenal legend Patrick Vieira, but his contract ran down, and he's 21 years old. Supposedly, he's supposed to be very good. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know a damn thing about him. I don't know anything about him, but he's supposedly very highly rated. And his contract with Nice comes to an end. Apologies, comes to an end this week. So this is according to Marca. I'm pretty sure they're a Spanish outlet. Arsenal and RB Leipzig for obvious reasons, have been named as possible destinations for Sarr. Now, this is something I can absolutely see Arsenal doing, particularly if he's as good as people make out. He's free, he's young, he's someone he can pair up with Saliba. From Arsenal perspective, if he's good enough, I say go get him. What do you guys think? Let me know. Leave it in the comments below. Is anyone that knows much about him? Because I don't know anything about him, truth be told. But anyone that knows anything about him, just let me know. That'd be good if you can. Just looking at other stories. I know that we're appealing the red card for Eddie Nketiah. You guys have seen. I remember somebody came into the chat and said that the AFTV lot were furious about the fact of the red card. You can now see that narrative is starting to change a little bit. I don't really blame them. Now they've seen the replay a little bit. I think they know that actually maybe it wasn't as harsh as they thought it was. To me, I saw it and I was like, oh no, that to me is a red card. I think the appeal is going to be unsuccessful, and they're going to probably add time to the poor kids. They're probably going to add time to it. I don't know why they're appealing it. Just take that on the chin and move on. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. But supposedly Arsenal are appealing it. Trying to look at other stories real quick. Bear with me. Once again, please do stick a like on this video. Hit that subscribe button. Feel free to join the membership. I'm going to be working hard over that towards the bottom end of this week, dropping little gems and stuff. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that. Okay, Arsenal are being linked with Thiago Alcantara. Alcantara is someone that Liverpool were very much interested in signing very recently. Obviously, he is a Bayern Munich midfielder. From my understanding, doesn't get a lot of games these days. And he hasn't agreed to a new contract. He only has 1 year left on his deal. He's 29 years old, though. But, obviously, sometimes, especially in that midfield, if you're a decent midfielder and you're a number 8, Arsenal are going to be linked with you. That basically seems to be what's happening right now. But yeah, up until recently, he was being linked with a move to Liverpool. Supposedly United are now on his case as well. The deal is set to cost, for anyone, £31.5 million. So I guess, what do you guys think? Is this something that you guys would be interested in? Me personally, I wouldn't be. I know he's a good midfielder, but I think, it's clear that we're trying to build a team for the future. And again, I just see this being another obstacle or another excuse as to why you don't get a Thomas Partey. Thomas Partey, for me, is who you should be going to get. I know they play slightly different positions, but that to me is the person that I would go and get. Speaking of that was a midfielder, but speaking earlier of defenders, I forgot to mention this one. And this one is being widely reported all over the place. And that is Arsenal's bid to go and get Núñez, the Atletico Bilbao defender. This is someone that we've been linked with on and off probably for about 2 years now. Every time there's a window, you guarantee that at some point this name will be mentioned. Apparently, according to AS in Spain, they're a Spanish outlet for sure, I know that. 23-year-old Núñez is wanted by Arsenal, Everton, and West Ham. He currently has a release clause of 34 million. They put it here, dollars, which is interesting. So he wants to move away from Bilbao. And, Arsenal have always rated him. We do have a lot of defenders on the books, though. So it's a case of, if we were to go and get someone like a Núñez, we would have to probably ship out a lot of the defenders we do have. Now, you might as well discount David Luiz, as he's only just signed a new contract, and Mari has only just come on board. But you would have thought that Socrates, his Arsenal future is done. You would have thought. It's very clear to me that Arteta doesn't rate Rob Holding. And Mustafi, as you've heard me banging on, I hope he bounces. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Núñez is someone that comes on board. Keeping in mind, we've also got Saliba waiting in the wings as well. Saliba, who, interestingly enough, might as well comment on this story. I know initially Arsenal, if you remember, about a week ago, they kind of rejected the opportunity of allowing Saliba to play in the cup final, which I believe is this Sunday. I think it's this Sunday. It's either this Sunday or next Sunday. Supposedly, Saliba has been devastated by the decision to not allow him to be in play in that match. So much so that he's been obviously training with Arsenal recently, and he's just been, kind of like, you could tell like he's genuinely upset. I think for me, I had initially a very hard line about this, but unusually for me, I completely forgot the people's side of this, which was, of course, he'd want to play in that game. It's regardless of if he's an Arsenal player now or not. He's worked so hard to get that team to the final. Why wouldn't he want to play that? I would want to play that. So it looks like Arsenal have reluctantly gone back to the table with Saint Etienne. Initially, the fee was supposed to be for $2.5 million. That's a goal! Last-minute goal. Sheffield United. Egan just beating Wolves. We needed that. Well, actually, we needed it to be a draw. Thinking about it. So yeah. Sorry, I lost my way completely. So yeah, it looks as though Arsenal have gone back to the table. Initially, they wanted $2.5 million to allow Saliba to play in that final. Once Saint Etienne cried blue murder, and they've obviously seen Saliba's attitude on the training field. And then they've kind of had a change in heart and just said, you know what, let's contact Saint Etienne and let's get them back to the table. So they're back in talks. The feeling is that the fee will be closer to £1 million instead of $2.5 million. and that Arsenal will let Salah play in that final. So we'll see. I would imagine something will be announced over the next couple of days to confirm that. But should that happen, I'll be happy for the kid. And to be fair, like I say, I know it probably sounds like I'm flip-flopping because I had a very hard, fast view on this. But thinking about it, actually, it would be nicer for him to play in that game. Of course, he'd want to play in that game. Yes, he's an Arsenal player, but he's been with Saint Etienne. He's helped them get to that final. He'd want to. He'd want to. Of course, he'd want to. He'd want to play in that game, even if they do get smoked. So yeah, I'm happy for him. So we'll see what happens. All right, I think that's me. Considering I have no voice, I ain't done too badly. Let's do 5 minutes and see what you lot are saying. Please do stick a like on this video. Hit that subscribe button if you're ready. Super chats are open as always. Feel free to join as a member if you would like. I am so tantalizingly close to 8K. I can smell it. I can taste it. We're about 50 odd subscribers away from 8K. So if anyone that hasn't subscribed, please do hit that subscribe button. I would appreciate it. Let's come into the chat and see what you lot are saying. Big up to these shifts. Lee's live stream viewers of a ride check. Oh, okay. Thank you, brother. I'll have to thank Lee later. You knew I was preparing for this earlier, but thank you, Max. I appreciate that. Road to 8K indeed. I'm almost there. Would you replace Aubameyang with Jesus? What, from City? Nah. You know what? Nah, I wouldn't. I know that some people think that Jesus is a bit overrated. I'm not necessarily sure I'm in that camp, but I wouldn't replace him with Jesus. No. Please smash up. Yes, please. Kartik, my guy. Hey, to be fair, Jahid, don't we all? I'm trying to sort this out tomorrow myself. I've already said to my boss, listen, I'll be offline for a couple of hours. And the reason being is I am going to get a haircut. I am sorry, but I have no chance of doing that over the weekend. I will get a haircut and I'll work my time back. I said, yeah, cool, no problem. Arsenal fans used to stop crying about the Eddie red card and the Vardy challenge, just accept it, always acting like the victims. I completely agree with you. And that's spearheaded by a couple of individuals that, will do what they do. And I think they're completely misreading the mood in the Arsenal fan base. I think it was a gutsy performance. I think the first half we outplayed them. The second half they outplayed us. I thought the draw was fair. It's a difficult result to take because in a way it was taken out of our hands, so to speak, because we had 10 men. Like if Leicester had equalised with us having 11 men, I think it would have been a little bit easier to take. So I can understand it from that perspective, but I agree with you, Ben. I agree with you. Stop bitching. Big up. Big up to my boy Chig. When notifications finally work. Thank you, my brother. Thank you. It's a lottery with YouTube. At the moment, they're working, so I have no complaints with YouTube at the moment. Guys, do feel free to join the member stream. I'll be doing a member stream tomorrow at 9. So if you want to literally kick it, I'll be talking with you. You can even come onto the show, and we can talk on the show tomorrow. Whatever you want, just let me know. We'll have a chit chat. However you want to do it. What's taking so long to get Partey in? This is Arsenal we're talking about. This is Arsenal we're talking about, bro. Arsenal nickel and dime at the best of times, but especially now that they're trying to find some sort of solution to this pandemic problem. Brace yourself. That's all I'm going to say. Brace yourself. Um, I see Max is causing a debate in the chat, but that's what I like. I like respectful debates, no problem. Vardy to replace a Pariah. Oh dear. Imagine that. Who knows? If things had worked out differently, we'd have had both of them. If things had worked out differently. Chig, would you replace Uber with Lewandowski if we could? Nah, Lewandowski's like 33, is he? I know he's still banging in goals, but I think the message is clear. You've got to build this team around the future. Chig, Osherman is going to Napoli for 70 mil, and Jonathan David is agreed to go to Lille. If that's the case, that's the case. But I'm reading what I'm reading. And I never denied that an offer's not on the table from Napoli. But supposedly he is holding out hope that somebody from the Premier League will give him an offer. So it is what it is. It is what it is. He's the best striker in the world. Oh, Ben. How would you rate Nunes? He's alright. He's okay. I think he should be getting. Put it this way: somebody. I think this is a really good comparison. Who's that Juventus defender that we're always being linked with? I forgot his name. Who's that Juventus defender? They're the one that never plays, but we're always being linked with. Somebody remind me. What's his name? Juve, Italian, young. I think he's 22. Rugani. I think he's better than Rugani. I personally think he's better than Rugani. But yeah, I think it kind of depends what you like. They're not top tier guys. In my opinion, is Upamecano better? Yeah. And you guys know I'm not that high on Upamecano. Yeah, do you know what, Ben? We've been linked with him for so long. The last time I knew he was 21. We've been linked with him for that long. But yes, Rugani. I think he's better than Rugani. But in my opinion, yes, I think Upamecano is better. I obviously think Canute is better. Do I think Disasi could be better? Disasi, in my opinion, kind of reminds me of don't get me wrong, a better version of Socrates. So nothing elegant, but just gets the job done. You know? No, I'm not. I'm bad with pronouncing names. You can never tell me I'm bad with pronouncing ages. I've literally just got one wrong. That's it. Get Diabla or Dybala. I don't know why I keep calling it Diabla. Dybala. Chig, at least Arteta has brought some stability and is doing better than expected. Is he doing better than expected? Oh, that's a good question. Is he doing better than expected? I suppose it depends on what your expectations were. If your expectations were that we were going to get smacked up every single week, then yeah, I suppose he's doing better than expected. And that's a good question. 2 for 4. Arsenal, Alex. Good evening. I'm still angry about last night. Don't be. I think it's difficult to take, yes, but at the end of the day, and I kept saying this to people that were too confident with Leicester. It's like Leicester are no jabrones, you know. They're third in the league for a reason. They've been in the top 3 all season for a reason. There's a reason why most of us look at that Leicester team and think, yep, I'd have you instead of him, you instead of him, you instead of him. There's a reason. I thought it was a gutsy performance. Should have been 4-0 in the first half, but then you can make the same argument the other way in the second half. A draw was fair. Chig, what are my expectations for next season? Oh, it depends who we get. It really does. It depends who we get and who we're able to keep and who we decide to let go. If we do the general basic things, now, I think generally this is what most Arsenal fans would want us to do. Let's keep Aubameyang, get Partey, get Upamecano or a defender who is good, and flog our deadwood, and maybe promote youngsters here and there. I would expect us to probably touch fourth, maybe. I do still feel like even if we get Partey, we may need a Szoboszlai or an Awuah type of player. Szoboszlai is looking more and more unlikely as the day passes. Supposedly he's had an offer, but he's waiting for one from AC Milan. Supposedly on social media was liking a bunch of stuff with him being linked to AC Milan. So the likelihood is that he'll end up there. Personally gutted by that because I think that kid is excellent. But it is what it is. I think the next best thing is Awuah. Arguably, Awuah has the potential to be better anyway, but he's going to be much more expensive. And he's the guy from Lille. So it'd be interesting to see, who do you guys prefer? Awuah or Szoboszlai? That'd be a good question. But it'd just be nice to have midfielders that could actually score goals. Personally, you guys know this already. I've said this before. It wasn't popular. I'll say it again. I take that Buendia guy from Norwich. My man creates chances. He even scored this week. I think he's a decent player. Yeah, Ben, I agree. I think it's close. I think it's very close. Van der Beek will be even more expensive than Awuah. But I do like Van der Beek as well. Awuah or Partey? For me, Partey. But they're different types of players. Partey is not a creative. He can create, but he's not a creative player. He's just a solid midfielder. Awuah is specifically a creative midfielder. You can play as a number 8 or a number 10. Omar prefers Szoboszlai. Interesting. I usually see people prefer Awuah. So you're the first person Omar I've seen say Szoboszlai. I love them both. I think they're both excellent players. And AFC is right. I think Buendia from Norwich is a very good player. Very underrated. Very underrated. You know, some people say Jack Grealish. I mean, listen, I'd take him, but I think he'd be crazy money for what he's going to bring. You know, I don't want to spend, not that we have it, but I don't want to spend 70 million on Jack Grealish. You know? There's a big fish in a small pond. Yeah, but you had that. But that's exactly why you buy him for 10 million and you make him a squad player. We don't have creative options. That's the point I'm making. So why not bring him in as a creative option for 10 million pounds? For me, I think it's a no-brainer. Absolute no-brainer to me. I did comment on Set Maximum earlier, my bro. Bertrand, this is the third time you've asked me this. Yes, at some point I will. We could do a swap. I don't think even Villa will have Ozil at the moment. Arteta out from Joachim. Wow. It's like that, yeah? All right, guys. I've literally done 8 minutes of overtime. Give me 2 more questions and I'm going to head up out of here. Please slap a like on this video. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Members, I've got you this next couple of days. I've got you. You're going to see how active I am over the next couple of days. And as for the other 2 channels, the Combat Show, you know we already got you. Every single Friday, 9:30. We got a lot to talk about this week. So watch us break down 251 this week. That should be a fun show. And then Chick Flicks, I need a day of work on Flicks. So I might do that on Saturday. Saturday is the day to do that. So yeah. And I obviously owe you at least one chopping block, and I know I owe you at least one Shigno's best video series, all of which is coming. Just bear with me because my voice is ragged right now. DBS Dallas, Decore or Parte. Now, you know, if you're a long-time subscriber of mine, you know one of the first people to scream Decore's name was me. I've watched Decore this season. I ain't been that impressed. So easily Parte. Easily. Easily. But thank you for the donation, bro. Appreciate it. One more question, I'm out of it. One more question, I'm out of it. One more question, and I'm out. Obviously, keep an eye for the shows this week. Spurs show. I'm going to try and do something a little different, but I'm obviously on Friday. That is going to be a preview. So we'll see what I can do for the preview of that show. No people are going to tell me I should reach out to Expressions. And let me tell you something about Expressions. I guarantee a lot of people are reaching out to him right now. The guy is a very popular brother, so we'll see. We'll see. But we'll try and do something special for the preview of the game against them lot down the road. Okay. I'll leave it on this one. Jahid, I've already talked about Verghurst, and Sangara, nothing at all. Nothing at all. Nothing's happened at all. But anyway, I'm out of here, guys. Please do stick a like on this video. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit join the membership. Feel free to do that. 26 members now. We're rocking and rolling. Let's see if we can get that up to 30 before the end of this month. And yeah, hopefully you guys will enjoy it. I'm out of here now. Road to 8K is on, people. Let's see if we can get there. Until tomorrow, another Eagle Eye will be coming. Take care. Enjoy your Wednesday. Deuces.